good people? It's Blxst here. Go follow me on Instagram and you can cop this sample for free. The link is in the description, so go get that as well. We're looking at a West Coast today, something perfect for Blxst, Larry June, really nostalgic. I wanted to bring that flavour of the old school, like, you know, those two-pack beats, like Dre, that kind of thing, and also some modern textures and sounds. So let's get into it. So we are in B minor and we're at 190 BPM today, or you could see it's half time as well at 95 BPM. And I started with these chords on the Rhodes, on the electric piano, because you hear a lot of electric pianos in this kind of music. So I picked some chords that I thought were really nostalgic, really soulful. So I'm just going to play these chords and I'm going to put them up on the screen for you to check out. So I've used some simple chords here, but they're quite jazzy. They've got extensions, major sevenths, minor sevenths, no diminished here, but I could put some diminished in as well as passing chords, but I've just kept it to major sevenths and minor sevenths. And the interesting thing that I've done is I've just rearranged some of the notes here on this G major seventh. So it's the same chord as this one right here, but I've just kind of rearranged the notes to give it a slightly different feeling, and that's just called changing the voicings. So if we look at the patch itself, I use the LA Custom Chorus patch from Keyscape. Love that plugin. It just sounds really realistic. And initially I wanted to make a sample out of the first 8 bars, make it feel like it was coming from an old record. And then I wanted to just drop drums in and make it feel really modern. So I put some processing on this keyboard and I started with a Wolf compressor. I really love these plugins. They really add a real nice lo-fi texture, and that sounded like this. Then I added more chorus, which probably you shouldn't do on top of existing chorus, but I liked how it sounded, so I left it there. A little reverb to wash out the sound a little bit. Some EQ, just filtering out some bottom end there because it got a bit muddy. And then this is where the magic happens. I'm panning that sound from right to left, so you're really going to hear this in your headphones if you're wearing headphones. You're not going to pick it up so much just on the speakers on the laptop or on your phone, but you can hear it now. So the next sound that I then added was the bass, and as usual I use my favourite Scarby Rickenbacker. And for the beginning of the sample I followed root notes, but I added a few fills in because I was trying to emulate an old soul sample, so you'll just hear there. So you can see I've mainly kept to the root notes, a few walk downs here, and a little bit of syncopation, just to give interest to the bounce of the groove of the whole thing. No processing. I don't really ever put anything on the bass, as you've probably seen in my other tutorials. I added some vocals next, then I went to my usual arcade. I just wanted a couple of chops, just have something, again, a little bit of ear candy in the background. So just that whoa, 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 and filtered it like almost a telephone EQ. I did a reels, Valhalla vintage verb, micro shifter, and shaper box. And on shaper box, I'm panning that from right to left. So that's going again across the stereo field. So I added these vocals and I wanted it to feel again like an old sample from the 70s, 80s, and just a few effects on there, nothing too major. I then added some guitar and I played this guitar in, and I just literally, and I kind of did a call and response with the guitar and the vocal. And I thought it worked really nicely, just in the pockets of space, because I never really want to have too many sounds filling up the sonic space at any one time. So I played this guitar in just with my Fender Telecaster, and I literally recorded it, and I recorded it on my phone on voice notes, put it into the computer, and raw it sounded like this, which is actually quite nice, and that's just from the phone. So I did some soothe, then some RC20 just to give it a little vintage flavour, some EQ filtering it out, bit of reverb, bit of chorus, and then some L2 just to level it all off. So in the mix it sounded like this. So then, as you can notice, like towards the end of the 8 bars, I just did a little walk up, 2 notes, and I played a little fill on the guitar as well, which is just an E minor 9. Little E minor 9 extension on the 12th fret, which sounded really cool. And then I added a little bit of texture, just an airport sound in the background, and one of Louis' textures. And if I bring them in, they sounded like this. Subtle, but just a little bit of ear candy in the background gives you that flavour. So then I moved into the B section where I added a couple more instruments to build the sample up before we dropped into the beat, the main beat. I added the West Coast lead sound. For this sound, very simple. I just pulled up a sine wave and didn't really do much to it, but I added some reverb. I added a little bit of portamento, a little bit of glide here at the bottom, which just gives it that, so the notes slide into each other. You can hear that there. Some RC20 to make it sound a bit more like it came from an analog synth, and a bit of EQ, boosting a little bit of mid-range on that. And I added this piano as well, which I took from the Sky Keys preset grand piano. And my inspiration for this part was just the steel Dre, where just playing a B minor triad, and literally that B minor triad works through the whole progression. So if I just play the Rhodes, the electric piano, the bass, and that acoustic piano, it sounds like this. A few drums here to just start kind of previewing the drums that I was going to bring in for the main drop. So just use this rim shot sound, added a little bit of reverb on it, but we'll look at the drums in detail in a second. So then I pretty much just dropped into the main beat. I did a little bit of transition sounds to a few fills there. The lead goes up to do-do-do-do, does a walk up. This little FX sound I brought in, which kind of sounds like a vibra slap, which is a classic West Coast instrument. You might have heard it on some Snoop records. It's kind of like goes doing like that. But it was on a ton of G-Funk and those old Zap records from the 80s. So when we dropped into the B section, or the drop section, didn't change too much. I added this pad where I literally copied the MIDI information. Quite a cool, mysterious sounding pad there. I processed it in the same way that I processed the Rhodes. I added the classic West Coast bass, which I've shown this before in another one of my tutorials. Here we go, copy these settings if you like, but it just sounds like this. I called the preset the mustard bass for obvious reasons. I added a sub underneath it because I didn't think it was giving me enough low end. So together, sub is just in Serum, this FM Freak natural sub preset, which I think is coming from the QAPT Blue Dream bundle. I use this all the time, natural sub. I just dropped it like 2 octaves below to make it really rumble on loudspeakers. Then we come into the drums. This is the drums just soloed off. Nothing too crazy here, your usual kind of 808 hats. This rim shot, nice kick. I just patterned it, kept it very simple. I brought in this slap clap that I put a little fill on. So just here you can hear. Then the classic West Coast cowbell that you've heard a million times. Pan some of these drum sounds to the left and right. And I added a little bit more guitar just for variation here. So all together we have this sound. So that's pretty much the whole song, the whole beat. And remember, you just want to keep these things simple, but also interesting. And I know that's easier said than done, but hopefully some of these techniques that I've showed you will help you to achieve that. So a lot of creative panning, processing, leaving space, call and response, all those kind of things there. And I think we're really trying to achieve something that moves someone, a songwriter or an artist, so that they can write and say what they want to say over the beat. And I think I achieved that nostalgic, wistful kind of feeling that I was looking for with this one. So I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, cop the free sample, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.